Hey, Ken. Welcome back to Kinfolk Unscripted. I'm Martissa.
And I'm Chanel. We are going to jump into our media time, which is where we share some crazy, funny, interesting things that we found on the media. And today it is going to be this Instagram clip about a doctor who removed 26 pounds of fibroids during a 17-week pregnancy.
Damn.
So I just had the most amazing, unbelievable case of my career where 17-week pregnant woman that had the most enormous fibroid that I've seen. It's the biggest fibroid of my career. And, she very early in her pregnancy and just couldn't, tolerate things. Things were just really heavy for her. And she went to high-risk specialists and they said that it needed to be removed. And she went to multiple doctors, and they told her that there's no other way to deal with it other than a vertical incision, myomectomy, and most likely probable hysterectomy with this. She was told to terminate her pregnancy, and she didn't want to do that. And even to me, when I got here, there were so many people that tried to block the surgery and tried to cancel the surgery and wouldn't let me do it. But at the end of the day, there's so much that happens in medicine that people do not understand, that I won't even get into the bias, the racism, or any of those other things. But I will say that this was amazing. I don't, toot my own horn or get too big about the things that I do, but I'm the best at this.
Period.
This right here is nobody would have done this. Nobody would have completed this but your boy. This is the most amazing thing I've seen. So the largest fibroid that I had before this was 20 pounds.
It cuts off there. I think he then goes on to talk about the fibroid he had before and shows kind of what that one looked like and everything. But I mean, initial thoughts, Martissa?
First off, I'm so glad he tooted his horn because it needs to be tooted. Toots. Okay? First and foremost. Secondly, this is why niggas need to be everywhere. We need to be in every field doing everything because it's just that woman was literally like, there's gotta be something. And how many of us have had some diagnosis, big or small, that
or not been diagnosed, but know something's not right.
Right. And it's just like, well, here's the worst case scenario. That's all I can give you. Mm-hmm. Or you're out of your mind,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing that this doctor, that she had access to him and that he was able to do that. That's fantastic. My second thought is, what's up with the fibroids and why do all of us have them? And when I say us, I mean Black women.
Yeah. And I don't remember exactly what he said at the beginning, but if it wasn't clear, that is a Black doctor, OBGYN, and a Black woman who was pregnant 17 weeks. And there is an overwhelming amount of Black women all over the world who have fibroids. Some of them you can get pregnant and do, as this woman did. Some of them cannot. Some of them do have to get partial or full hysterectomies because of it. Or some of them choose to because of the symptoms, bleeding for weeks at a time, the fatigue, the anemia. There's so many different things. And I was just looking up, do the weight of fibroids add to your weight? Yeah, they actually do. So you say, she walking around with an extra 26 pounds.
Crazy.
Imagine walking around with an extra 26 pounds that's actually doing really nothing for you. You know what I'm saying?
But wrecking havoc.
Yeah. And that weighs on you, and I believe in things weighing on your spirit, so yeah, but I'm overjoyed that this woman was able to get these taken out, that she did get in contact with this man, that she was able to have that done during her pregnancy. I can't imagine, all of the emotions, but I'm so happy that he was able to do it and she's good and the baby's good. And he didn't scar her up and try to remove everything. I mean, could you imagine being told that you're going to terminate your pregnancy at 17 weeks?
That's crazy.
You already passed your first trimester.
That's crazy.
So yeah, and just really the unwillingness. And I think part of that comes from, they just don't give a shit. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
We have been experimented on since the beginning of this country. I do think some of them don't care, but I do think some of it is like, I don't want to put my hands on that because I'm scared. If
Right.
something happens, that's my career, right? So basically, you know, fuck what you're going through, but this matters more.
Yeah.
I really like that doctor was up for the challenge, which is
Mm-hmm.
why he can toot his own horn, because he's like, this woman needs help. And you know what? I think I can do it.
Right. And I think that part of it, I'm grateful that those other people didn't try and just practice on her, you
Because
know,
be
because they
confident
were
if you're
feeling
going up at me like that.
okay, because they were just feeling bigger for their britches. You know, I think that sounds like she got the right one. She
Yeah,
got
she
the
did.
right one. And someone who could actually gave a damn. But this is, I mean, I also think that like too, it's like niggas need to be in all everywhere, and also specifically niggas that are have an anti-racist praxis about them, because not all of us do.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
But that's dope. That's super dope.
Well, yeah.
But what's up with you?
Oh, what's up with me? Well, again, I didn't think about this, but what I can say is I had a proud parent, you know, situation today where, yeah, my kid, it's a long story, but basically she drew out something that has been bothering her, something that has made her sad from time to time. After we talked about this thing yesterday, she and her dad fell in February. They were skateboarding. They had my husband has an electric skateboard, and they fell. And I mean, he's still recovering from it, and it's April. She recovered pretty quickly, but I think emotionally it did scar her, which I didn't realize. Like, I thought she was over it, but we talked about yesterday. I was like, oh, tell me about something that's made you sad. And she talked about that. And today she drew a full picture about it. And I was really proud of the way that she's been able to process her emotions through drawing. You know, she can't write yet. And also, I was surprised by the fact that she can draw because I had no idea. I mean, she has cousins that she hangs around, but she doesn't go to school regularly. So it's not something that she just picks up. I don't draw. So when I saw she drew two separate people with facials and hair and emotions, and she even drew her knee pads and elbow pads and the skateboard, and I was like, you know, I just learned something about you. And it was just like really cool to know that the things we're doing is working from an emotional standpoint, but she's also using the tools around her to express herself. So that was really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I super love that.
Yeah, what's up with you?
Oh, what's up with me? I planted out my strawberries today.
All of them in the tower?
All of them in the tower. Yep. So I got some, for the listeners, I got some bare root strawberries from Stark Bros. I got Ozark something. That's the variety name. And they're ever bearing, so hopefully I'll get more, like multiple flushes, which I'm excited about. But yeah, I planted them out. I planted my asparagus crowns out. So I'm like, we got some perennials. We got some perennials in the ground, which I'm super excited about.
Some good ones that you can eat on, you know?
Man, even though I won't be eating that asparagus for 2 years, but that's fine.
Well, yeah. Did you put the asparagus in the bed?
No, I put it in grow bags.
Oh, the bags. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because the bed is gonna move, and I need it for annuals.
I understand.
I'll just be able to take these grow bags and like move them with us super easy, and then pop them up into larger containers if I want to.
Right. Yeah.
And it's my first time using grow bags, so I'm curious to see what this is gonna be looking like, and then good luck to whoever's gonna move us when we move, because I got 4 25-gallon grow bags.
And you live on the 3rd floor.
On a 3rd floor walk up. I won't be touching it.
It's not your problem.
No, it's not my problem. And I just, sorry to that man. Or they
got it. Yeah, they got it. It's fine.
And they better not break my shit in the process.
It'll be fine. That's exciting though, for sure.
Yes. Yes. So that's what's up with me. And,
Let's get into our episode today.
let's get into it. What we talking about, Miss
We're talking
Ma'am?
about marriage. We're talking about marriage. And we're going to tell our love stories. We're both married. Talk a little bit about what it means for us to be married. And before we get into the love stories, I do want to ask you a question though. What is your favorite part about being married? Tell the people how long you've been married and then tell us that.
Okay. I've been married in exactly 1 month from today, April 15th. I will have been married for 1 year. Round of applause for me. No, I'm just kidding. Marriage is my marriage. Let me speak for myself. My marriage, because I don't know about everybody else's, but mine is that girl. I love I love being married. But I think it's because I'm so blessed to have the person that I'm married to. So my favorite thing about being married is quite literally having my built-in bestie like 24/7. You know? Like we're cackling and rubbing our feet together all the time. Get off of work. Let me tell you about what didn't happen. I think part of it too is like, I'm sure there's straight couples that have these dynamics as well, but I'm in a queer relationship. And so I think that there's a big part of it where it's just like, yes, my lover, absolutely. This is my lover. And also, this is my motherfucking nigga. Like we even talk about everything, you know?
Yeah.
Like yeah, just all the time. All the time. So yeah, that's my favorite part is having like my like built-in bestie 24/7.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, I agree with that. And Manny and I started as best friends. And so that's definitely like an absolute top perk. We have been married, it'll be 6 years this year in October. And yeah, my favorite part is I just, after, because, we've known each other for longer than that. I don't know exactly how long, maybe 15 years or whatever, but being able to see that person grow, I think is so special. And people always say you change, like everybody changes and you grow together, you grow apart, but really being able to see like where he's come, like we were kids, and now we're in our early 30s. And it just really feels like a blessing to be able to watch that in somebody that you truly love and care about. It's like really beautiful to watch somebody do something because they love themselves, whether it's work out or eat better or learn a new skill or, walk, like whatever it is, like just to be like up front and center. So I guess being that person's cheerleader, I think is like really fun for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a big that
And
piece is big.
yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know what his favorite part of marriage is, but he definitely is my biggest cheerleader. I mean, especially when I'm being my biggest hater. So, like he's definitely there to remind me like you need to stop being so hard on yourself and you can really do anything, And that's just his whole mentality in general. So it's just really helpful to be with someone who thinks that way.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, who wants to go first on our love stories?
I can go.
Yeah, you should go first.
My love story is a little shorter than yours. My beloved and I met 3 years ago this month. And essentially it started with me coming home after a wildly dramatic breakup and being home for the first time in almost 10 years. And home is Detroit, for those of you who do not know. So, coming back home to Detroit, I am at this point jobless and just trying to figure it out. Like, I'm also like really getting into writing, and I've written on and off all of my life, but at this point in my time, I was very much on. So I was taking courses, taking classes, workshops, and all of that kind of stuff. And I was really throwing myself into it. So I decided to sign up for this cute little sonnet workshop. I had seen flyers for it. I knew that the person who was teaching it was like also their book was coming out and they were having a book release a couple of weeks later. And I was like, oh, I'm going to definitely go to that too. Like, I'm part of this writing co-op in Detroit that is no longer there, RIP, called the
Man.
Room Project. But yeah, so I go to this sonnet workshop, this American sonnet workshop, very good workshop. I go up to the person. I'm like, I would love to buy your book, like yada yada. I buy their book. Then they were like, "Oh, I know, like you look familiar." And they were like, "Oh, I know that we follow each other on Instagram." And I was like, "Yeah, because I followed them because they're a writer and blah blah blah." And later, I go, I say something to they open that conversation with me. This is later. They opened that conversation with me, and I said something slick like, well then don't be surprised when I slip into your DMs. And they're slick back and was like, well, you don't have to. And they're slick back talking about, well, you don't have to slip in my DMs, just take my number.
Equally slutty.
We love a slut origin story,
We do. We really do.
So then from there, the next day, I was supposed to be going to a comedy show with my sister. And she sends me a picture of her foot being completely dislocated in a direction that a foot is not supposed to be in.
Damn.
So I was like, well, shit, I need to find someone else. I'm just about to get these tickets. And I'm texting one of my very close friends, and I'm like, I don't know if I should invite Mars. Like, I just met them yesterday, blah, blah, blah. My friend was like, bitch, if you don't invite them. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I text them like, hey, it was good to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And was like, I'm going to this, comedy show later tonight. Do you want to go? And they were like, yeah, I would love to, and we can get dinner. So we do that. We have dinner. We go to the comedy show. We're chit chatting. Then we leave the comedy show, and I'm like, well, let's walk around. Let's walk around. We walk around. We go into a coffee shop. We close the coffee shop down. Then I was like, well, I want to go dance. So then we go to the club and we're dancing. I mean, it's like after 12 o'clock by the time that we are done. And I could tell they wanted to kiss me, and I panicked. I literally gagged.
Why did you panic?
I literally to this day, I don't know. To this day. We were like doing that whole thing where we like linger by the car, and they're like, I'll see you later, da da da. And I could tell they had that energy, and I was like, ooh! And I was like, oh, gotta go.
Maybe you were just nervous.
I think so. And then essentially the rest is history after that. Like, we ended up seeing each other. That was a Friday. We ended up seeing each other again on like Tuesday, that following Tuesday, just for literally 15 minutes. And to this day, I'm like, I didn't know this cognitively, but I knew it in my body. When I stepped into their house, I like was in the energy of their home for literally 15 minutes because I had to go pick up my mom from work after that. I walk into their house. I'm like, this house is cute. Like, your style is cute. Like, it has their smell that I can so vividly, the smell of their home was like, I can still to this day, sometimes I'll smell it in our home, like be like, oh, that's them,
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to sit on the couch and they like envelop me in their arms. And I was like, this is way too easy. And then we kissed, and I was like, oh, wrap
Done
it up.
Deal.
It's done. It's absolutely done. So by the end of that month, I knew cognitively that this was the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with.
Shit, bitch, by the end of that month, you was telling me, you was talking about marriage. I mean, Like
I
actually.
knew.
Actually.
I was so clear. I was like, oh yeah, this is done. It's done. And obviously everyone thought I was absolutely nuts. And I was like, you just got to believe, you got to hold on to your own intuition.
You
Um,
do.
and then that following September was when Mars got really clear. I think for them, it took them a little longer because they have a different story than I do. Like, they just were like, I was waiting for my person, waiting for my person, waiting for my person. And then when I showed up, they were like, it can't be this. Like, it can't be this easy, right?
Mm.
And when they, and also with them being trans and me not being in queer relationships, they were also concerned about the family pieces. And it was in that September for Labor Day, we went to Indianapolis, and one of my mom's best friends, like a couple of her best friends were there, and we were all just hanging out. And it was like there that, like, they were like, oh, your family is just so warm and all of this stuff. And they were like, oh no, this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Because you're not just marrying a person, you're marrying their family system too. So
Yeah.
and when you're queer, I mean, regardless of your sexual orientation, it's some serious shit. But when you're
Yeah.
queer, you have this whole other layer on top of it.
Yeah. And then the thing about, like, some families like ours, like you will be seeing them, right? Like, so
Oh,
you want to make sure that you like those people and that they are kind to you.
absolutely, absolutely. Because could you imagine the amount of closeness that we have, but then they're not kind?
I
God
know. I
damn.
mean, that would just be toxic. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I know.
yeah.
That would be really rough.
So after that, that was Labor Day. By the end of that September, we had picked out a ring, and by April 7th, 2024, so an exact calendar year later of the day that we met, Mars proposed to me in the most beautiful little way. So, and then we got married a year later after
Wait,
that.
wait, hold on. Okay, because we're forgetting some things. Okay. Mars proposed to you, and then
Oh, yes. And then I proposed to them.
yeah.
And my proposal was cute as hell.
Yes,
Okay,
it was.
so Mars proposed on April 7th. They just told me like, oh, we have like a 1 year anniversary photo shoot. So we did a cute little photo shoot, and then we went to Belle Isle, which is a very, staple Detroit space. We're in our cute little matching blacks. I'm like, I think I'm like turned away from them and like turned back or something like that. Anyway, they get on one knee, and my body, like, I leave my body fully. Like, I was like really trying to keep myself into my body, because I was like, I've dreamt of this moment for so long, and like wanted this moment for so long, and then also like, this is my person, and I'm like, wait, but this is actually happening. It was just, I felt very overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they put that ring on my finger, and I was obviously inconsolable and so excited. And then later we go back to the house. We end up like randomly going to our favorite like hole in the wall sushi spot, and I'm just like looking at the ring the whole time, just like pressed, right? And they were like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't call nobody. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is crazy that I can't call nobody when I have a fucking ring on
Why?
my finger, because there was other things happening afterwards, right?
Okay.
So when I get back to the house, they're like, we're going to get cocktails afterwards. Like, we're going to go out to dinner. And I'm like, cool. So I get dressed, put my face on, I'm looking cute. And they pull out this laptop with this video of all of my beloveds that are all over the country, with this sweet like message about why they love me. So I saw my beloveds. Chanel was on there. My beloved Wilty was on there. Like, it was just so many of my people. And um and then we went to cocktails, and then the rest of my people were there. And we just got to like enjoy with our parents, our best friends, and just like, I don't know, it was just perfect. Like, we just kind of we had this room to ourselves, and we was all drinking and happy and just like living all our our families mixing, and yeah, just living in that. And that was perfect. That was perfect.
That's so beautiful. And
Yes.
yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I wasn't able to be there in person, but um, I looked at every photo and I tried to feel like I was there, you know. But yeah, she really was overwhelmed with joy. And Mars was so excited too, you know. So it was just really beautiful.
Yeah.
And to just, you know, see you and know that you found your person, like know like that's them for them. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
You said something though that I wanted to go back to, which was, oh, when you were talking about marriage, like at the beginning of you guys meeting, you're like, everyone thought I was crazy. I think, and I don't know about everyone else, but I was like, this is just so her. You know what I mean? Like this is, and I think it did take me a minute, not in this, but in like years, like to get to this point. But like, this is just, you have your heart on your sleeve, and that's how you've always been. And you love
Yeah.
big and you love hard, and that's your personality. So that seems so like on brand, to be honest. Like it didn't surprise me. And I was just like, and it worked, you know what I mean? It worked out. So
Yeah.
yeah, always do trust your tuition. Trust like that you love the way you're supposed to love, and that you're gonna find somebody who loves you that way. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
really glad you did that.
And to not dim. I think that like you had said something to me randomly. I don't remember at what point, if it was in one of the wedding speeches or something, but or it was just like, just you and I, where you were just like, I'm just so glad that you didn't let like the other experiences kind of harden you. And I don't
Hmm.
think it wasn't the exact words, but it was something similar to that effect, that like, whoo, I done been through the trenches with exes. I done been down through there, okay? You talk about being on a goddamn ziggity boom. And I think that those experiences, and I'm not gonna say I came out unscathed, because that's just absolutely not true. But I think that it is a real thing that you could go through that kind of stuff and be like, actually, this love shit ain't even for me, boo. Like, I'm good. And I think a lot of
Hmm.
people have that experience. And every day I'm just grateful for, I gotta thank me. I
Yeah,
gotta thank me.
you do, because you chose to keep loving even though you knew like what the worst that could happen could be, you know?
Right.
Like, and we've all loved the wrong people, absolutely. But it's just like it does get really easy to harden. But strength comes, I mean, people think strength is when you try to put up walls to protect yourself, but strength is when you keep on trying to love even though you know that, it could not end that well.
Yeah.
Cause look, that shit could end fucking beautifully, and that's why people keep doing it. Like at the end of the day, like that's what your heart wants to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, I am really
That,
proud of that. Yeah. Ooh. Well,
well, let's go through your 30-year story.
shut the fuck up. Okay, so now you got me talking real fast trying to get through this. So, yes, Manny is my husband's name. We met, I was 13 and he was 14. We were in high school. And then, that wasn't like, when did I start high school? 08? Yeah, let's go with that.
Damn.
So that
No, I'm
wasn't
just
like,
joking
oh,
with you.
see, again. So so we met in 08, but we really became friends in like 2010. Let him tell it, because I thought we'd been friends since 08, but Um, but anyway, so we had literally just met. We were like the two. So in my school, it was like 75% Latinx Hispanic, So in my class, and then the rest, like, mostly white. My class, we were like the only two blacks in there. So, everyone's like, oh, y'all should, date. I'm like, this is racist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know him. So anyway, and also at this point, I'm 13. I just got to high school. I'm like, where the niggas at? You know what I mean? Quite literally. Do you remember when I would like, we would be
Wait,
in the
you
car?
were 13 in high school? I had to, this feels incorrect.
Yeah.
13?
Yeah.
I was
What do you
14.
mean? Most
I was
people
14
are.
going on 15.
Right. Most people are. But the thing is, I started school like kindergarten at 4. So that,
Okay.
and a lot of people start at 5. But for, I don't know, my mom was able to find this one school in Mesa and they took me at 4. So
And you got to get your ass in class.
this is, yeah, laws also could have been different back then. I don't know.
Okay, okay.
But regardless, I do know that that's how old I was, and it's just been a thing. Like it's a conversation. It used to be a conversation every time I would start school, and they were like, well, "What do you mean?" So, do you remember when I would be like, we would be driving or walking somewhere, and we would see a fine dude, and I would literally be breaking my neck. Right. So I'm just saying for the people, like this is how I was at 13. I would do this shit in front of anybody, in front of my mom. If I saw a fine dude walking, I would be like, "Did you see?"
Wait a
You know,
minute.
yeah. So that's how I was, right? Manny was very serious, at this stage. And he asked if I would be his girlfriend. Like months later in that freshman year, he drew a picture of me, a portrait. It was very beautiful, very spot on. He's very good at art. And then he gave me this folder that had the portrait in there and a bunch of other like drawings he had done. And he wrote a letter asking me to be his girlfriend. So I just felt like it was so sweet that I couldn't say no, even though I had the spirit of hoe in me. So I was just like,
So, but there's all these fine niggas around.
I know. Like, I'm really not sure, what's a girl to do. I go to Detroit every summer and it's all black, right? So I know what I'm looking forward to. You know what I mean? So but anyway, so we dated for like a month. And then after that, I told him, like, I just don't think, like, I want to really be in a relationship for real. So then basically, time passed. We had classes together. Our school was very small. Like, my graduating class was 65. And so we would see each other all the time. I ended up being in student council with his sister very early on, like that same year. Me and his sister become best friends. So he has to see me all the time. We ride the same bus to home. He lives in my neighborhood. I'm at his house all the time because me and his sister are best friends. She knows how to braid singles. She's a plus, right? So we're, watching Gossip Girl, all types of shit. But it's just like I think he was actually sick of seeing me for a bit because he was actually really upset about the breakup, and I always tease him about this. I'm like, it was a month. Like, I don't understand how you could have gone through this drama, right? But and I don't even
You
count
broke
it
my
for real.
cousin's heart, okay?
But I don't even count that for real. But I said that for him because he always tells that part of the story. So yada yada. Then we become really close friends. Well, I actually get to know him. We hang out. When I go to his sister's house, we hang out. We both play basketball, and by that I mean he played very seriously. I was there to hang out. So we did that. I would go to the boys' games, all that stuff, and we were both in AP classes together and all that. So we really created like a friendship, rode the bus together again. So yeah, we became like real close. And then fast forward 2 years, now we're seniors in high school, and everyone still that whole time, oh, you should date Manny. My family, you know what I mean? Certain people coming. I'm telling you, it's not even people that live with me. Like just family members, I'll be over like, oh, I remember this one. Oh, Cha Cha, he loves you so much. You should just date him. And I'm like, you don't even know him. Like this is crazy. At first, I did not realize how much like I really felt for him. I don't think I like gave the time for love, And then I realized that I really do love him, and this is my best friend. He is so sweet, and like we always have so much fun together, and we always laugh together, and he's so smart, and we can have intellectual conversations, and that was one of my favorite things. And so yeah, then we ended up dating, and we've been dating ever since for the most part. We won't get into that, but yeah, so we've been dating ever since, or we had been. And then went to college, and I mean, I don't know, like I don't think that part of the story is really important. I think we can fast forward to 20 when I get engaged, 2017. I was in grad school and he was working, and we had decided to live together because my school was kind of far. And so that was our first time living together, and we got engaged I think within a few months of that. And he let me see, how did it go? Guys, my memory. So it was Thanksgiving weekend.
I was like, let
Martissa
me
came
tell the
out.
story.
I know, right? Martissa came out. And then like I think Morgan came out, like there, my friends came out, right? Now it wasn't really it was a little out of the ordinary that Martissa came, but like we try to see each other when we can. But we didn't really have like a family tradition of Thanksgiving you coming
The
out yet.
Thanksgiving yet. That was like the
Yeah.
first time we did Thanksgiving all together.
Yeah. And Morgan wasn't out of the ordinary because her family lived in town. So she could just be like, I'm, visiting them. So we're hanging out that night before we go out. We go out with my now sister-in-law, one of my line sisters. Like we had a great time. Too much fun. Yeah, too much fun. Girls was lagging the next day, but which is actually ridiculous. Y'all bitches are irresponsible because all of y'all knew what was gonna happen. But anyway, the next day,
that's even more reason why we had to do what we had to do. Like that.
And then because I was kind of onto it. I was, because one of his aunts texted me saying congratulations. She lived in another country, but she shouldn't have done that. She shouldn't have. And so somebody I think has swapped my phone when they saw it to try to like make sure I didn't see it, but then I saw it a little bit later and I thought it was weird, but I didn't think too much of it because we were drinking a lot of dirty martinis. So then the next day we're hungover and whatnot, but then we
You were drinking dirty martinis?
We were, girl. Alice was making them in her apartment.
Oh, I kind of remember that.
And there was another martini. I don't know. But
there was another. I think it was like a lemon drop or something.
Yeah, she made lemon drop and then dirty. And then we went to the club and probably drank more.
We did.
Well, anyway. Yeah, so then we went to my mom's house for Thanksgiving, right, the next day. And we had, like, when I tell you the house was packed, right? Like I had great grandmothers there, like just everybody. And then everybody and their mama always come to my mom's house anyway for Thanksgiving, but it was just like extra people. But everybody wanted to see. So anyway, we're kind of just waiting around longer than usual for the food, right? And we're just kind of wait. At this point, I'm just like, well, what's going on, right? We need to eat. Manny keeps disappearing. Yeah, he keeps disappearing. I'm like, well, where the hell he at? We supposed to be, we don't like, I don't like for you to be gone for too long. Like, I need you to be right next to me, right? So like, and then he not saying where he going, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, then this dude comes to the door. He knocks at the door and I'm like, well, who are you? And he said, mind you, this is my mother's house, but I'm like, well, who are you? And he said, well, I'm Manny's friend from college. And I was like,
no, you ain't. I don't know you.
Right. And the thing is, the dude clearly didn't know that I've known Manny before college. So I've never seen you in my life. So now you lying. And this is weird to me. Right. He's like, I just want to talk to Manny, whatever. I'm like, okay. So I go get him. They disappear. Right. So it's just like, some things that are
pissed. I know Manny was probably livid.
Probably. But he was so nervous. And he said that's why he was like away from me, because he knew that I would be able to like tell. And he kept going into my parents' room, apparently, take a shower, put on his clothes, but also just kind of like take some breathers. And I'm just like, I don't know why you were nervous. He was basically already family. You know what I mean? So
but
anyway,
he did it in a very large way. So it makes sense.
He
like
did.
It was a production.
It was a presentation for sure. So then we go to the backyard. Everybody stands into a circle, and I don't know, maybe you should tell this part because it's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't remember all of it because I'm literally in it.
You trying to stay in your body.
Right. I do remember that like a lot of people had cards. These cards he made, they had qualities that he loves about me or things he loves about our relationship. The people holding the cards range from like, my brother and my sister, his mom and dad, my parents, stuff like that. Some friends that we've had since high school as well that were there. So they all had cards and each one would go around and say the thing on the card and step back.
And I don't know if I'm missing something. He gave all of us cards that were also connected to your relationship with that person.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like I remember that detail.
I mean, it definitely sounds like him. He was very romantic, So yeah. And then he got down on one knee. Show me the ring.
Everybody's in a circle. Hold on.
Yeah.
Everybody in the circle. We're outside in the back of the house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be over.
It's a big ass circle.
It's a massive amount of people. And we're all in a circle. Manny and you are in the middle. We got our little cards. We say the cards out loud. And then that's when he gets down on one knee.
Right. Yep. And then, yeah, then I said yes. And then we took pictures and had a good old time. And I never had an engagement party. That was the fucking party. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was a blessing to have all those people there. Some of them are not with us anymore. So, yeah, like, you know, it was just really cool. And that was, I feel like that was pretty on brand for how my family did functions, how I did functions at that point, too. So it just felt like, you know, just a nice family thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the story. I want to talk a little bit more about marriage, what it really means to be married. So, what does that mean for you?
Yeah. That's a good question. I actually, before we answer this question, I have a question
Okay.
on top of it. What did it mean to you then? Because,
Oh,
but like at the time, what did it mean to you versus now, however many years later, what does it mean to you?
that's a good ass question.
Yeah. I can go
Yeah,
first. I think that like, ooh, I don't know why I'm going first because I didn't even think about it. I feel
it's all
like for
right.
me, I was like, I always knew I wanted my person. Like that was the thing that I kept thinking about. And I, for me, really wanted somebody who I could go through life with. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted someone who was there in the good and the bad, someone who could like, who could really see me, you know? And now I feel like I'm mixing up before and after because I think that at that time, I think it was for me, I could not foresee the level of comfortability I
Mm.
really needed or would be attached to this. Because I think at that time I was like, I just want somebody who's like has the same goals and we have the same outlook on life and all of these things, which is all amazing. But I didn't think about how I would feel with the person,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. Um, so at that time, marriage, I think marriage means kind of something similar as it did before. It was just like I wanted a partner who I could go through life with, who I could build a family with, and I think for me I wanted that milestone as well, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to live it because I didn't grow up in a household where I saw it either.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get that. And I think, wait, ask the question again. Why did I want to get married
Why did you want
or
to get
what
like what was marriage to you at that time?
versus now? So, as a teenager, I didn't even believe in marriage. I didn't think that was something I wanted to do. I didn't think anybody should, to be honest. So that was just, you know, what I was going through. And that was before me and Manny started dating. But after we started dating and after I really started to have those feelings for him, I realized that is something that I want and I want it with him. And I wasn't the kind of person who was just dating to date. Now I was a look-see look before, but I didn't do much, you know. I was dating for the long term, and I just feel like I'm very clear about the things that I want. So if I want you, that's until,
Right.
and that's kind of how I saw it. Especially when we were like, we're gonna move in together. I made it very clear that means we're getting married, right? Like, you know, because there doesn't need to be any of that if there's not gonna be none of that.
Right.
Um, for me, it was, I think, also the traditional aspect of it. You know, this is what people do. Definitely not advice that I would give somebody, but that is what I was thinking at the time. This is something that we should do if we're going to be living together and if we're going, you know, we don't need to be fucking around, right? Like we're in this together.
Right. Right.
So that was kind of the way I saw it. And the way I see it now is we are absolutely in this together. We are choosing to be in this together until the wheels fall off. So that is how I
We
see it
better
now.
keep
But I also,
repairing the wheels. And we better
huh?
keep repairing the wheels so they don't fall
Yeah,
off.
yeah. You repair them, you lube them up, you do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Sometimes we need to get different wheels, but it's until the wheels fall off. And I think that's what I have learned through going through it. Yeah, versus now, I think I really also do see it as a partnership, you know, because I don't think I really thought about it as much that way before. Like a business, it is important, imperative that you treat it that way. you have to plan it like you want it to succeed, just like you would a business. It's not some shit that just is good because you show up, right? Same thing at your job. You don't just fucking show up and, shit just turns out fine. You have to want it to be fine and you have to work toward it to be fine. So I think now I see that too, which is great because it helps me figure out, well, how do we make sure that this succeeds?
Right, right,
That this goes all the way. Because, if we repair wheels, they're not falling off. So,
right.
yeah.
I think, okay, let's talk about this because I've been sitting in this a little bit. It's something I've been just like, I haven't even talked to Mars about this yet. I I feel like I Capricorn my marriage, and I don't want to keep Capricorning my marriage.
What do you mean by that?
I think that I too see marriage. Like that was one of the reasons why I was like, I don't want to move in with you officially until we get married because I've done that. I'm not doing that again. Like I don't before I was very clear with Marge before we got engaged that like I was like, I'm not doing a long-term relationship. I've been in long-term relationships. I think that when you fucking know. And it doesn't take 20 years to fucking know. It may for some people, but for me, that's just not what I wanted. And so I was very serious that I was like, we get to a 1 year mark and you're not clear, that will actually be an exit. That's enough information for me.
Yeah.
So, all that to say, I think that I come at marriage from a very like practical standpoint. It's like almost see it as two different things, like your person versus like your spouse, like the legal spouse thing. And it's like I come to that marriage piece is like, okay, this is a business, like we have to keep working on it and da 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 da. And then I feel like sometimes I get stuck there where it's like then I have to remember that like this is my person, right? And I feel like I don't necessarily act that out with Mars all the time, but I think that it's a bit of a shift that I'm trying to engage in my own brain to figure out what that balance looks like, because I'm like I think that like when you marry a Libra, as both of us have, they are just kind of magical people. Like they like inherently they're magical people. They're romantic. They feel they're very watery. Or no, they're air, but they still have this watery quality about them.
They do, yeah.
And I think that like as earth signs, I think we provide a lot of structure and scaffolding, but also I think I'll speak for myself, I can be a little too grounded and almost like dampening of that air.
Or like confining
of it. And I'm like, I want to have more of from myself, because Mars is always going to bring it. From myself, I want to have a little bit more levity and, not so much business.
Yeah, I get you. Well, first off, I want to say that being practical in a marriage is important because they've been selling us the fairy tale our whole fucking lives, right?
It's true.
So you know what I mean, and that's not real life. That's part of it, but that's not real life. And I don't know, for me, really thinking more about the practicality of it has given me freedom, because it's like, oh, like if we put certain measures in place, we're setting ourselves up to be successful, right? So it's not just like random like stuff happening, which I feel like at the beginning I was kind of just like, oh yeah, like we're hanging out, let's do this, let's do that, which is cool. But now as a parent, that does not work. And maybe that's kind of where I'm coming from. We have to be like, okay, we are spending this much time together tonight, right? Like we have to, because if we don't, we won't do it for another week. Now we haven't talked about 3 million things. Now I'm mad because I feel like you're not listening to me. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. So, but if we make sure that we spend this time together, or if I send you this voice note instead of forgetting for the 13th time, that we making sure that we're setting ourselves up for like better success. But I absolutely hear you in the whole like bringing balance, because they bring so much air and levity, and there's resilience in them being able to do that, because life is not easy, right?
Yeah.
So them being able to like take the high road easier and just have a general sense of whimsy is a fucking breath of fresh air, right? From the way that we think and operate.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I would say is give yourself time and patience and keep thinking about it from that viewpoint, because, you know, like something I've talked about with you one-on-one, I think I also said to the internet, but it's just that like watching, like he has taught me how to be a better person simply by doing stuff.
Right.
The way that he treats other people, the way that he treats me, the way that he treats our daughter, right? Just the way that he moves in the world without having to ever say a word, right? Me watching that has been like, oh, I could be a little bit chill, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be as confined, right? Like that has helped me, but it's taken a long time for me to get to this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I see the importance in it, absolutely, but I just think that like there's a place for both.
Yeah.
And
I think
finding the balance is just a journey.
Yeah, that balance piece. I think that like
Yeah.
is quite literally the biggest, maybe it's like the key to marriage is like finding balance. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I've only been married about a year. So I don't know. But
Yeah, well, my therapist will say we're still babies in marriage too. So, you know, I don't know. But what I can say is the way that I look at it and things that arise now is very different than the way I did then. I wouldn't say very, but it is different. And I feel like it's a little bit easier in some ways, you know? I don't know if you ever find the balance, but trying to make it as balanced as possible, because practicality has its place as well. You know what I mean?
I think
So
one thing that I've heard balance defined as, or like illustrated, that I had thought was like super helpful for me is that like balance isn't 50-50 every single day. It is 50-50 over time, right?
exactly.
So some days it's 100-0. Some days it is 70-40. I mean 70-40. 70-30.
Shit, some days
You
though,
know?
because for real, and I think it was Gabrielle Union talking about this, where she would come in and some days, you know, I got 20% today, which means you got to have 80, right?
Right.
Or I don't have nothing actually to give, which means you have to have 100. And sometimes
Right.
110, you have to go more than you have some days in order to make up for what that person just can't do that day, you know?
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, it should be 50-50. And I think about this, you know, like when I was in grad school and like I was barely cooking. I was not doing grocery shopping. I would clean, but that was pretty much the extent of like my wife shit, right?
Right.
Or like literally like labor stuff. He did all of that, and he did it through the pandemic because it had just became like a routine, right?
Right.
And we had moved states and all that, and he was still like, you know, and it wasn't until we like 3 or 4 years later where it started to become more back equal again. Where it's like, okay, well, like that's not our life anymore, you know?
Right.
And now I do most of the cooking, right? And all the grocery shopping. And so it's like that
Yeah.
whole give and take, but 50-50 of it, of the entirety of the relationship, and just like where are you at in the season? What's
Exactly.
needed from each person? And on a more like, you know, unserious note, but like for real, have you been seeing online where they're like, I'm gonna try not to butcher this, but I fear that if you're the kind of person who needs space when you get overwhelmed, your spouse is gonna be the kind of person who needs to vent when they're overwhelmed, right? Like, and just stuff like that, right? But in that case, I don't know necessarily if opposites attract or like complement each other, right? It could be a little bit of a headbutt in certain ways, but it is helpful and complementary to have people who are not exactly like you, right?
Yeah.
Because they're teaching you.
In that piece too, I think this is where it's like, and also that means your spouse can't be everything, right?
No.
Because like I think that too, I've had to learn one of those ways that shows up in my relationship with Mars is like Mars is a slow internal processor, right? They process information much slower than I do, and they do it internally.
Right.
I am an external processor that processes things at lightning fucking speed and change my mind about that same thing as quickly as I fucking decided it, right?
And in real time, right? Like,
And in real time.
we talking through this right now. You know what I mean? Like, ditto.
So I think like too, I sometimes like they will be like, I'm fucking overwhelmed by this because I feel like I need to have all the right answers and I just don't have it right now. And I've had to learn that it's like that's not about me. Like they're allowed to process information the way they process. I'm allowed to process information the way that I process. If it is not helpful for us to be doing that at the same time, I have other ways to do that. I can
Right.
motherfucking journal. I can call one of my best friends. Like I can there's other ways to do that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's also something that has given me a lot of peace in that it's like, no, we're not the same person. Even as complimentary as we are, we're still not the same person.
Yeah.
And that's gotta be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it does. And literally same. Like we process things kind of the same over here. But in that same breath, even though Manny processes things slowly and internally, that has actually helped me realize that maybe I don't need to be coming up with an answer immediately, right?
Yeah, that part.
Sometimes maybe I should actually sit down
Hold the fuck down.
and think about it for a bit, especially if it's like, a more heated discussion. Maybe I should take a breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has helped me fight more fair. And I use the term fight, but I don't really like to say that when you're talking about having like constructive conversations with your partner. But also, he has had to sometimes, like, we do need to talk about this shit right now. Like, you don't get to wait 3 days. Not really 3 days, but like it has to get resolved. Because if not, now we have all this. So I think that's helped both of us. So now I'm wondering how you think marriage has changed from the beginning of getting married and the build up and all that to now, like in the crux of it, or just with the time span that you've had.
I would say the biggest thing is that now we're definitely in the like throes of building the life, right? Like our chemistry's there, like all of the emotional pieces are there, but now we're in this like really deep, like, okay, we want to have a baby, so we're planning for that. And with being queer, it's not just a let's fuck around and find out, quite literally. So there's just so much planning, so many decisions around that, and most of that has been really joyous, minus the fact that we found out everything's wild expensive. But so there's that, and then we're trying to figure out if we want to buy a house, so we're in that process right now. And yeah, just in the life pieces, I would say economics, and I feel like are having a big taking up more space than I know either of us would love in our marriage, because there's just so much strain. It feels like the economics of being like both of us are making more money than we've ever made. We thought that at one point we thought that getting to the point that we're at and having a combined income of what we have was going to be, we were just going to be set, just so comfortable, right? And with the economics, it's like the groceries is, the everything is stupid price wise. And so we still are in this kind of hand to mouth mode, it feels like. And we're like, we don't feel like we should be there. And so I think that that's just one example. And then you got fucking Trump doing all the things that he's doing, and the ways that those things are both impacting not only obviously our community, but also our individual lives. And then I'm like, is anyone having a good time at work? Work really feels like it is beating niggas down these days. And it's like anybody I talk to, everyone is having a rough time, like across the board. In every generation, every different sector. I don't care if you're in tech, if you're in nonprofits, if you're in market, like regardless. So I just think that it's like external forces, and it's like the building of the life pieces that are taking up more space than we would love at this time.
Yeah, I definitely get that for sure. Girl, yeah, this economy is me and my mom just had a whole conversation about it earlier. So yeah, don't get me started back. It's rough though. I mean, we were talking about, groceries, and I saw, some people are like, I spent $400 on groceries, and I'm like, I wish that I could only. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you eating? You can't be eating enough,
They talk about
like, and
$400 a month.
yeah. And I'm like, well, how the fuck are you eating and enjoying it? Because that's something about us is I want to enjoy my food, and I
I
don't want to
don't.
be stressed about the fact that I'm having enjoyable food. But damn, I can't leave the grocery store without spending $100.
I mean, at
I
minimum.
can't.
At
Right. I
minimum.
can't. And I'm only going there to grab a few things every time. And every time I'm like, this is insane. And I feel like now I'm the level of old where I know where I talk about these kinds of things, but that's for real. And it does. I feel like it's always going to be a factor. I don't think it's always going to be as great,
Yeah.
hopefully. But yeah, but I'm excited for you guys regardless of this
Yeah.
shit going on. You still have so
It's,
many things to be excited for, and just keep leading with that. So having the necessary conversations and leading with the excitement, and regardless, you'll have those chips fall where they need to.
yeah.
So
I'm like not, I think that where I've been at lately, and y'all know I'm not a religious person whatsoever. Spiritual, not religious whatsoever. But I keep being like, I want what the universe wants for me. End of story, point blank. I want what God, the universe, whatever's up there doing the things. I want what that power has for me because at this point, it's in God's hands. It's in God's hands. You talk
that's
about a
funny.
bunch of crazy shit happening every goddamn day. You know,
I know.
we got it's April at this time, y'all, and I am still cackling over Christy Gnome's husband and his titties.
Oh my God. Seriously. So fucking unserious. Like, come on.
Fucking unserious. So fucking unserious. And I mean, so we're living in that day and age where this woman is trying to terrorize trans folks and queer folks and everything, taking apparently taking photos in front of folks who are being deported in
Mm.
in cages, taking photo ops in front of them, and then
Get the fuck out of here.
her man is shaking his triple F's
Yeah, because yeah. Oh
and
my God.
his hot pink booty shorts, for the interwebs, and saying how he hates his woman and how he just wants to be a trans woman with this other woman, and I'm like, I love that
He
for
was
him.
saying that?
No, he said that. Yeah, that's
I
what
didn't know
came
he
out
said that. I
recently.
just saw the really, yeah, I mean, I saw the titties and everything, and but that's crazy as hell.
Yeah, 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 and I
And
hope
it's
it
like, so
burns
this is
her
why
down.
she goes so hard on trans people then. She
It's
know.
got to be because she knew.
Yeah.
She knew.
But it's like this is your personal issue. This has nothing to do with everybody else.
Man, I
Handle
just hope it
that.
burns her down to her britches, okay?
Yeah, I
I hope
know.
she is sick as hell over it. And I hope he can get free, you know? Because clearly he got something in his spirit that he needs to get out. And I hope for it for him and get up out from underneath that crazy shit.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy as hell.
Yeah, but anyway, I say all that to say it's some crazy shit happening every single day. It's some new
Yeah,
crazy wild shit. We're in a war, all this shit.
yeah, yeah,
Millennials are being unserious on the internet about being drafted. It's just we have to
yeah.
have some joy, and we
Always.
have to literally just give it up to the universe because
Well, see, and this is where I think you and I differ as earth signs, because I'm like, I want what's in store, what's in store for me. I want what I want. That's in store, right? Laid out very specifically. I have the picture in my head. If I could draw that motherfucker, I would. You know what I mean? And then show it to the universe and be like, let's work on this.
respect
Let's
specifically.
collaborate. You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't think that'll ever change, to be honest. But hey, don't quote me on that. There's a ton of shit where I would be like, I would never, or that won't change, and it has.
Also, you don't want to box with God with that one. I'm gonna just tell you right now, you don't want
No,
to box.
true. This and more. That's why I said let's collaborate. Because let me know what's going on. You know what I
No, I'm
mean?
talking about you saying you don't think you'll always be like that, is what I'm saying. Don't box
Oh
yourself.
shit, yeah. Let me
Let that go. Because I'm telling you, for me, I think the thing that changed it for me was grief.
Yeah.
Grief changed all of that. Where I was like, oh, so I literally don't have no control over none of this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
And I really hate that. I mean, we learn lessons through everything, but I hate that it had to be that one.
That's
You
a
know?
bitch. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's why I said don't call that.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I take it back. I take it back. If I need to change, I will change, and I don't need to be, harshly persuaded. Okay. But
Amen.
what has, huh?
And so it is.
Right. I say, okay. But
How did marriage change? That was the question.
oh, yeah. Then versus now. Then, and I could be looking at this with rose-colored glasses because I'm a parent now, because I truly do miss us, right? Me and him. And I was telling you this earlier. There's some people who are like, there's no before, there's just like after, there's now. And yes and no, because for me, there is also before. I remember, right, what it was like to be able to pick up and go to a movie. We used to live, and we still do live next to a movie theater. We could walk or, drive or whatever, and just in the middle of the night or whatever, have time to talk about all the things. I was completely on top of my finances to the point where I was fucking annoying, and now we just talked about this before the call. This finance conversation keeps rolling over to the next week. It's terrible, right? That part. So, it's changed for us dramatically because of us being parents. I think that having a small child takes a lot of time, takes all the time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of energy, a lot of sleep away from you, right? You are transitioning into your next person, and so is the person you're raising that kid with, and whoever else is around you that's helping you to raise that kid. But you two, the primary caregivers, are really changing from an internal level, from a spiritual level, on an emotional level. So that's all happening while you're trying to like learn how to like make sure somebody stays alive. And it's really it's madness. It's crazy when you really just think about the way that it goes. But yeah, so I think, with all of that, and then you got hormonal stuff in the beginning. Now that could be weeks, months, years. It depends on how long it takes your body to make that transition. And it depends on like how long you're nursing or not. It has a lot of factors. But because of that, sometimes you're not seeing things the way that you would see them otherwise. And you're not reacting to things the way that you would react to them otherwise. And I think that can make a difference. But for me, I think all that kind of played a role really in the first 2.5 years of being parents. Maybe more, because I really feel like in the last year is really when the gas started to, where we can let off the brakes more. See each other, like actually see each other and who we are now. So busy fucking looking at yourself trying to figure out who you are, right? So that's been an interesting transition, I will say, and it has definitely made our marriage much different. But I also know that it's a season, small kids just require more. They require more, and they can't, because they can't do. And as the more independence they get, the more independence we got, or she. We only have one kid, so the more independence she got, the more independence we got, and that's freeing in a way, because I'm like, well, she's only gonna get more independence, so we're only gonna get more independence, but she gets more years under her belt as a human. We get more years under our belt as parents, and how we want to do it and how we want to change it and all that. I was also like listening to this podcast recently where they're talking about the way that people raise kids here in America is not the way that kids have been raised since the beginning of time. Somebody would have a kid. When we were hunter-gatherers, somebody would have a kid. They wouldn't be the person taking care of the kid all the time. Now, the kid, let's say it's a newborn, would be held all the time because that's what they crave. And that's part of the tension at the beginning, because like they want to be on you all the time. That is not possible, right? So but somebody else would be holding them. You could go take a nap, right? Or just get some rest or do whatever you need to do while that baby is still getting that. Exactly. And the baby is still getting that skin to skin, right? With us, the first 2 weeks we did have help. We're doing a lot of the child rearing alone, like the day-to-day stuff, like definitely like grandparents help with clothes and stuff like that. If we wanted to drop her off, like to spend the night, we could do that. There's some barriers because of all that. We do it ourselves, and that takes its toll because we don't get as much time to have those important conversations about finances or just shoot the shit or just go hang out. We have to like be really intentional or wait months to have a date and stuff like that. So all of those factors will contribute to how much repair you get to do to those tires, you know, or
Right.
how much you even get to drive the car. So yeah, so that's been that. But I think like lately it's just been like really, I don't know, like I've been excited. I've been feeling a difference with us and just the way that we are, you know, and I just feel like we've come out of, I won't say the thick of it. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning yesterday because my daughter had a nightmare, and that sucked, right? It'll be great when that part was a distant memory when I can just get regular rest. But it's nice to like see the upside, see the light at the end of the tunnel, and really be like, okay, like I think, you know, like it wasn't us. It was just part of the transition, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Being able to see like the seasons as seasons rather than
yeah.
indicative of the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because parenting is part of the marriage, but it's not the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing it as like that part, which for me can be difficult at times, but it has definitely been easier. Almost like we're literally just doing our best.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and like we talked about, sometimes that means one person is doing 80 for a week, you know? And that really sucks ass, you know. But that was the best that we could do that week.
Yeah.
So, and letting it be that, right? Because there's nothing more to be done there. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and then just being intentional about trying to find ways to make it easier to like more time together. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And actually, I want to talk about that as a whole and what we're looking forward to in our marriages too, to round it out.
Oh,
But
yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's how it's changed.
That makes sense. I have lots of thoughts. I am looking forward to my honeymoon.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to my honeymoon to Mexico City for our 1 year anniversary. I am looking forward to this summer with my spouse because I was telling Chanel before we start hit record, I saw this video where this woman was like, all she wants to hear is cracking all summer long. She want to hear her knees cracking from throwing ass. She want to get her back cracked, right? She said she
We
want to
know what
hear,
that means.
right. She want to get her here cracking of a fire while cracking open a cold one. And I was like, that sounds like it. That is my summer plans. I want to hear cracking all summer because fall is giving first trimester. And I hear that ain't no ho. So I'm excited.
Well, you
I'm
never
looking.
know.
You never know. I'm calling in ease through it all. So, um, yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that. I'm looking forward to entering into parenthood because I feel like parenting is a lot larger than just when that baby comes out. Now, obviously, when the baby comes out, it's like full force, bitch. You lock, signed, sealed, and motherfucking delivered. You ain't going back, right? But I think that I've been thinking about it even larger, specifically from like a queer standpoint, that like once that child is in our hearts, like that spirit has chosen us, which I truly 100% the spirit of my child has chosen my spouse and I think that immediately it set us on the journey of being parents. All of this preconception shit, I'm like, this is for that mother. Like, like this is for them. It's for me, all of it. And so I'm just in the joy of being on this side of the parenting, quote unquote. Like,
Mm-hmm.
really being in the preparation, being in the sitting, being in the um, the fortifying. I feel like this is the fortifying period. And I feel blessed that I have the privilege to have that. Because I think it's going to help set us up in a different way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited for that for you too, and for the both of you. I'm just kind of trying to plan out how you want to parent, but also how you want your marriage to sustain, to maintain, to thrive through that, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's a really important piece. What are we excited for in our marriage? I don't know. I'm just excited to chill, honestly. Seriously, like it just feels like we've been working really hard. I don't necessarily know what that chill looks like. I don't know if that looks like me just having less anxiety and he doesn't feel like he's working 3 different jobs, or if that means we are literally on somebody's beach chilling, but I look forward to us both like physically having a breath of fresh air and it being noticeable to each other. I look forward to growing in parenthood with each other, because I think that even though I do talk a lot of shit and I'm going to continue to, but it has been really fun and I love my little family and spending time together. And that's why I do what I do, why I stay at home with her. And I have always enjoyed Manny's company, and just like, as soon as he gets off work, it's like it's funny because I'm not the type of person that's like super emotional outward. I feel like more so now than before, but still, but Oakley's like, yeah, daddy's off work. Like inside, that is how it feels. Like finally, now we can spend time together, even if that means we're running an errand. So I just really look forward to being able to spend as much time as we can with each other and having some chill. And it feels like the marriage is just riding down PCH. You know what I mean? So yeah,
love that.
But
I'm excited for that for you too.
Yeah, we'll see if we, get some sleep this week, and then I'll report back, because really that's what it comes down to. So, but regardless, I'm still proud of like how much fun we're able to have even through it. So yeah.
My God today.
I think that's it.
I'm curious to hear about y'all's marriages. I want to know. You should comment on the show notes of the Substack or Instagram when we post this. Like, I want to hear about your marriages. Like, what are you excited about in this next phase? What did you move through, live through, thrive through? What did the first year look like and feel like versus year however many you're at? And for those who are not married and listening to this, who want to be married, I'm curious to know what that feels like. And for those of y'all who are like, actually, fuck all of that shit, I want to hear about that shit too. What makes you so sure you're like, actually, y'all can keep all of that? I want to know. All right, Kim, we gonna get out of here. We love y'all. Can't wait to see
you. Jaw.
I know. We've been together for a little bit. But we'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Have a great one. Bye, Ken.
Bye.